Hello everyone, it's Kari from sunshineinmypocket.com, and today I have a really fun stencil video to share with you. This is the Spotlight Stencil, A2 stencil from Maker Forte, and these collections are different designs that you can use with this Spotlight stencil. Now this is my new summer stencil series, and I'm going to be sharing at least once a week, I think, throughout the summer of new stencils that are beautiful and that I completely love, so I want to share them with you. It was my intention that these be shorter, informative videos with some different stencil ideas for you, but this one turned out to be a little bit longer because I ended up making 10 cards. So watch to the end. I am going to be using pixie spray on some of these, but first I wanted to try them with Kaleidoscope Powder. Now Kaleidoscope Powder is super fun to use, but you certainly don't want to spray the backs of your stencils with pixie spray if you're going to be using the powder, because the powder will stick to anything sticky. So what I did there was I added some clear sticky ink. This is the clear ink from Maker Forte, but you can use Versamark as well. And then I'm taking this dual-sided brush and adding the Kaleidoscope powder of choice, and then I take my clean larger brush to brush off any of the excess. And look at that beautiful shine that you get. Now this Kaleidoscope powder comes in all different colors, and I'm going to be using a couple of different colors today to share with you. This next one I thought looked really fun, like waves, so I'm using one that turns a little bit whiter in the background, using that brush again to brush it on, and then the larger brush to brush off the excess. And look at what a beautiful design you get. It has some mica powder in it, so it kind of shines and shimmers when you move it in the light. And what I usually like to do to set this is take a really inexpensive hairspray, an aerosol hairspray, and just set that. I'll show you that in a minute. So now I have a couple of different reds that I'm going to use. I think I'm going to go with the Aurora on this one. This is the flower looking one, and I'll just pull that off with my thin tweezers, and now I can add that beautiful Aurora Kaleidoscope powder. See how easy this is to add? Now I am speeding this up quite a bit because I didn't want to have this be a super long video, but you kind of get the idea of how to use this Kaleidoscope powder, and I really love it, especially on darker cardstock. So most of these with Kaleidoscope powder that I do today are going to be on the darker cardstock. And now I have gone and sprayed these, the rest of these that I wanted to use with that pixie spray, so I can ink on the rest. So I've done all my Kaleidoscope powders. Now the rest I'm going to be doing with inks, just to show you how fun this A2 Spotlight stencil is to change out with all these collections. I have done a video in the past using one of these collections on some summer cards. I'll link it here if I can remember to do that, so that you can check out more ideas using these A2 Spotlight stencils. And the reason I'm showing this today is because I keep going back to this again and again and again, making cards. I love this collection. I think it's really, really smart. So look at those beautiful colors you get on this one. And I'm going to cover that up with the circle that comes in with the A2 Spotlight. And that way I can ink around the edges to add some more color to this card. I didn't want the outside to just be white, so I'm taking some oxide in a blue shade and just adding that around the edge. Now I've made this spray using some Kaleidoscope powder, and you can write it right on there, but I was too lazy to do that. So right now I have a Post-it tape telling me what's in there. So this is some sparkling Kaleidoscope powder, an alien Kaleidoscope powder in some water, and I'm just spritzing it on the front, and then I'll take a tissue here and blot away the excess, and you can see you get a really pretty design, and you also get some beautiful pearl shimmer on there. So that's one of my favorites to do. I'm just going to wipe away the extra ink here before I pull off that circle, and look at this beautiful result that you get for this card. So pretty with those sparklies on there. At the end of this video, I will be making all of these panels into cards so you can see how to use this and then how to turn them all into cards. Just to give you an idea, get your imagination going. So this one I decided would look great with the radiating inking technique on this stencil. So I've got some yellow, then twisted citron, and then I'm going to add the peacock feathers around the edge of this one. And as you can see, this Spotlight stencil, you can put it right in the center like I did here, or you can move it up like I did on a lot of the other ones. Look how pretty that color combo is. Really, really fun. So I like the way this one turned out. So moving on to another panel, I'm using this one like a flower and doing a very light purple and then a darker purple around the edges. Most of these I do with oxide inks because I figure a lot of people have those oxide inks and they're very, very simple to blend. But look at that beautiful blend you get on this flower. And then I'm going to use another stencil here, which is one that I'll be sharing later. It's a collection that I also love, and this is also from Maker Forte. I will link them all below too in case you're interested, but this one I'm going to put the circle right over top of that flower, and then I'm going to ink this around the outside. This is going to create a larger focal point on our card, and it's going to make the image look bigger as well. So look at this. I'm going to pull this off here, and you can see how that just creates a larger, look at that. But I decided I wanted to have more color around the bottom. So see how it just kind of stops right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the stencils back on. Actually, I'm just going to put this one back on because I'm only going to ink up that bottom portion. And this way it'll have those stripes around the bottom as well. So here you go. Look at that. So that creates an entire inked front panel. So pretty, and that's going to turn into a really great card. So here's a few of them so far. I'm going to keep on going. I really couldn't stop. These are so fun to make. So here's where I'm showing you the Aerosol Hairspray, and I just use this really cheap one. I think I found it in the dollar section, and I'm just spraying those Kaleidoscope powders, and what that does is it sets the powder so that it will not come off, and you can finish your card and it will stay put. So that's what I like to do for that Kaleidoscope powder. Now for this one, I decided to go ahead and use that center of the circle, put it on the card, and I'm going to ink it up with 3 colors of green oxide inks here, and just going to blend those all together so I get a really nicely blended panel with the greens. Now I'm going to take off that center portion, and then I'm going to put the leaves collection right on the inside, and then I'll put that outside stencil portion on so I don't get any inking on the outside of the ink that I've already put on. Now I'm going to use some black to put onto those leaves. I'm just using some post-it tape so that I don't get my fingers all inky here, and then I'll wipe away the excess ink because now I want to add some glitter paste. This is going to make it very shiny and shimmery, and it'll be like kind of like black glittery leaves in the background. Really fun. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. I've already inked another panel, and I'm going to be using this particular one from one of the collections, and I'm going to turn it into a sun-like card. I want to make sure that that background is dry first. Before I do this, I just used some yellows and oranges on that background, as you can see here. And now that it's dry, add some glacier paste in gold, and you'll see that in just a few minutes how that turned out. It's time to turn a few of these into cards. I'm going to take this sentiment that I think fits perfectly on this flower. I inked this one up with yellow and orange in the center, and then added that flower 3 times to the panel. So you can see that the flowers go off the edges. Here's one that I stamped with this beautiful sentiment. She is strong, fierce, brave, and that's going to be turning into a card. I know I'm going very quickly, but this one I'm going to be using a simple sayings sentiment strip, and I will put a little foil on that one. On this one, the gold glacier paste has dried, so I went ahead and stamped the Be Happy and Smile, and then I used this sunburst around the edges to create kind of a sun effect. And then I'm adding this little circle around there to give it more dimension, and I'll just glue it to a beautiful orange card base here. This is going to be a very bright, happy, sunshiny card, and you know that I love those. Here's the foil that I'm going to be using for that sentiment. So I foiled it up with that hot pink foil. It always seems impossible until it is done. I think that looks really pretty with the ink that we have on this one, and it adds some foil to that shimmery background as well. Really, really pretty. I'll just add that to a card. And for this one, I added a simple thank you in the center, white heat embossed on black paper. And now I'm adding some purple gems all the way around the edge here, just using my beautiful rainbow gem picker for that one. I'm coloring up this cute little frog. This is a set designed by Jess Francisco. She has the cutest sets at Maker Forte. So this one, I have stamped the sentiment, "You're unforgettable," and now I'm just coloring up simply with some Copic markers, and then I will cut all of those out to create this card. I added those to our glittery leaves there, and I popped it up with some foam tape, and now here is a look at all the rest of the cards that I created. Some of them I did off screen, so I'm just going to show you the finished results. There's the unforgettable. Isn't that a cute sentiment? That's such a pretty background with those leaves. Here is our glacier paste sun. This one is gold and shimmery and really pretty. Be happy and smile, it says on the inside. Very cute. Here is the one that we made together using 2 stencils to create a larger look on the front panel. Those beautiful gems I used are called Rhubarb Ripple, and they kind of take on that purple color, so I really like that. This is the Kaleidoscope Powder in the background, and I colored up a butterfly, and I also used this Choose Happiness from another set that I stamped in purple. I think that one came out just so striking. And then here's the Kaleidoscope Powder we did with the green powder in the background. I foiled up a sentiment that says, "Stay positive, work hard, make it happen," and just added a simple leaf die cut to the front of that one. And I matted that with some green cardstock. Here's the poppy one that we did together with the Kaleidoscope Powder, adding some more gems and then stamping on that large poppy sentiment. Really pretty. I like how big that sentiment is. Here's the one that we foiled together with some simple sayings. I love the colors on this one too. And imagine all the different colors you can do. Lots of options. So there's that one. Here's the one that we did with the flower, and I used it 3 different times to kind of have a repeating effect on there. Choose what makes your heart bloom. Then that one I also added some gems. Here's the "She is strong, fierce, brave, and full of fire." And that one is gold heat embossed. Look how pretty. And the last one is using that wave one again. I thought it kind of looked a little like those shells on the snails, and those are so super cute. I added some glitter to the background, but look at how I also added some glossy accents to their eyes. So this is super sparkly and really fun with the swirls. So cute. So much you can do with these backgrounds. You can add stamps to them or not, just make them a design or add some little characters. There's so many different options, and that's one of the things that I really love. So they're super versatile. That's why I wanted to share them with you today in this summer stencil series. I hope you are enjoying this series so far. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. I did go really quickly through these, but hopefully the rest of my videos throughout the summer will be a little bit shorter. But look at all the options and possibilities. That's one thing I just really love. So much you can do with inks, kaleidoscope powders, Try some embossing on these too, or foiling. There's so much. So that concludes the video for today. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your thumbs up as well. It really does help me out with YouTube, and also your comments. I hope I see you next time. I'll be back soon with more stencil inspiration. Bye-bye.